How do you know when it's time to start weaning your puppies off of mom's milk and transition them to what's called puppy mush, or sometimes referred to as puppy gruel? And then how do you consistently make mush so your puppies will gobble it down at every single feeding? Stick around because we're going to talk about that and more in today's episode. Hi everybody, and thanks for joining us today. In case you are new here, my name is Joel. My wife Carrie and I have been raising labs for almost 30 years and run myredfoxlabs.com, where we help you learn about breeding, weaning, and raising red fox Labradors. This is Thanos, one of our biggest males from a recent Avengers themed litter, and he's 3 weeks old today. With our pups, we like to assess them at 3 weeks of age to determine if they're ready to start moving on to more solid foods like puppy mush. But how can you tell when they're actually ready? Well, there are two things we look for. Number one, how long are the puppies going between feedings? If it's less than 2 hours between meals with mom or on a bottle, that's a good indication they're needing more solid foods to stay full. The second test is to use your index finger and gently rub their gums. If you feel teeth starting to poke through, especially in the back, it's time for the mush. If neither of these apply to your litter, let them keep nursing on mom and check again in a few days. Usually by the start of week 4, at the very latest, they'll be ready for the mush. Now Thanos and his siblings meet both of these criteria today, going about 90 minutes between feedings with mom, and I can really feel those back teeth starting to come through. So we're going to get him and the rest of his brothers and sisters on a more fulfilling diet today. Right now, I'm going to show you exactly how we make our puppy mush, and if you stick around till the very end of the episode, you'll learn one of the bonus tips to make sure your puppies gobble down the mush consistently at every single feeding. All right, welcome to the pantry. We're going to start the first step of the process, and Carrie is going to grab some puppy food here. And we are fans of Purina Pro Plan, and if you haven't seen our video on selecting a puppy food, check that out and you'll know why we like Pro Plan. And she's going to grab about 2 cups of puppy food and put it into the blender carafe there. Next thing is to blend it up, and only about 30 to 45 seconds or so on a low setting. If you don't have a blender to use or you don't think it's going to be good enough to grind up, you can always use a coffee grinder. It's a great alternative. You just won't be able to get as much puppy food in the grinder. Now we're going to put that ground up puppy food into a container. We make enough usually for the whole day. And when you're looking at the container, you want to make sure there's no chunks or anything that the puppy can't chew. We want to make sure there's nothing they can choke on. It should be about the consistency of sand. Next thing is to use the Espalac milk replacer. This is the first step, so for puppies under 4 weeks old. They do have a second step formula that is for 4 weeks and older, but we have enough of the formula left over from the first few weeks, so we're going to use that up first. Next thing is to grab some pretty warm water. I wouldn't say hot, but definitely on the warmer side. We want to make sure it stays nice and warm. And then when you get it over to the blender, start the blender before you put the Espalac in. Prevents any chunks from forming. Now Carrie's gotten really good at measuring with the measuring cup here, but you want to make sure you get a nice level scoop. You don't want to have too little, so it's too thin. You don't want to have too much, so it gets overly thick and you waste it. Just make sure you get a nice level scoop, and use a butter knife if you need to, and just kind of shave off the top of it if there's excess. Next step is to put the dry food that we ground up earlier in the bottom of the pan. We normally put about 3 to 4 scoops or so in the bottom of the pan. We shake it around so there's just enough in there to cover up the bottom of the pan. Now there are some clumps in there, and you'll see Carrie breaks those up, but those aren't chunks. They're just little clumps that have kind of stuck together, and she'll make sure there's nothing there that the puppies can choke on. Finally, we pour the milk in, a pretty generous portion. We make sure that there's enough to feed 9 puppies in our case right now, and Carrie will move all of that around so that it gets to be a nice consistency and everything gets wet. And within about 30 to 40 seconds, this will start getting about the consistency or so of oatmeal. We do have a mat that we put on the floor that the puppies will eat on. This prevents a huge mess, and we can just throw the mat in the laundry when they're done. And then once the mat is down, we put the puppy food bowl down, and then we go grab some puppies.
Oh, it's feeding time!
Now they know what they're there for. They love this stuff, and they'll start eating right away. There's the first 2. And here's some brothers and sisters that are coming in to help out. Now there's all 9 puppies in there eating. And Carrie will add milk throughout the time that they're eating just to make sure everybody has enough to eat. How do you know when the puppy's happy? Well, when you got a puppy with a milk mustache like that, you know they've had a good time eating. We will bring the puppies back for a second time or sort of a second feeding a few minutes later after they leave the bowl to make sure everybody's got enough. And most of them do come back for a second helping during this session. Now, Mama's right outside. She sees her pups and she wants in. She wants to get in there and help them out. And Ginger does a really great job for us. She cleans the pups, so we let Ginger in after the pups have had their eating session, and she gets everybody all cleaned up and ready to go back to bed. Cleanup for us is pretty easy. Really, it's just hosing and rinsing everything off, so it's pretty quick for us. And then after we're all done, it's nap time again. So after about a 30-minute session of doing this, all the pups are ready for bed, and they are all nice and quiet and ready to go to sleep. I did promise you the one bonus tip to make sure the mush gets devoured every single time by your litter. In fact, when other breeders stop by to visit, they're always amazed by how long our pups actually eat and how much they consume at each feeding. The secret is to keep the mush as warm as possible for 2 reasons. Number 1, do you like eating cold food? Probably not, and neither do the pups. Think about it, when they're nursing on mom, they are getting warm body temperature milk. That's what they're used to, and that's what they like. Second, if the mush cools down too quickly, it gets too thick and actually starts to coagulate into clumps. They just don't like eating that, and I can't blame them. We keep the mush as warm as possible the entire time they are eating, and the pups just love it. Here's how we do it. Now, this is one of the corn-filled bags that you see people using for neck therapy or heat therapy for their low back. Pretty easy to find, and you can reuse it multiple times. We'll pop this into the microwave while we're making the rest of the puppy mush, and we'll put it in anywhere from 2 to 2.5 minutes and get it really nice and warm. Now, when it comes out of the microwave, it's hot to the touch, but you just move quickly, throw it into a bag, and put it in something plastic to protect it from the puppies getting it all wet and the mush all over it. Carrie will put that bag down right in the middle of the floor and then go get the actual puppy mush tray. That tray fits perfectly on top of that corn bag. And the puppy mush is already warm from warm water, but this corn bag heats up the tin and keeps the rest of it warm while the puppies are eating. It'll stay warm the entire time the puppies are feeding from it. Well, there you have it, our recipe for making puppy mush and our best tip to make sure they eat every last drop of it. If you enjoyed this content and got some value out of it today, please do us a quick favor and hit that like and subscribe button below. It really helps us grow the channel and lets us know what kind of content you like. Also, if you have any tips or questions about puppy mush, leave us a comment below. We will read every single one and respond to each and every one of you. On behalf of Carrie, myself, and Thanos, thanks for stopping by the channel today. We'll see you next week.